Having great sprinting form is an art that is developed with concentrated practice, much like playing an instrument or making beautiful art. Some of it is naturally inherited, which is what we consider talent, but the great ones are able to combine that talent with skill development to make it so they're able to run faster than anyone else. In this video, we'll be going in depth into the key to having great sprinting form and all the critical factors necessary to make you achieve this one critical part of sprinting. So if you've been training hard, putting in hours of work on your craft, but are not seeing any benefit, it is because you're missing this one key component, which makes creating force into the ground easy. Focusing on improving this can be so simple, but the results, when done correctly, are guaranteed to make you so much faster. The key differentiator after spending hundreds of hours studying the top sprinters in the world is the foot angle prior to foot strike. This is not the thing you need to work on though, because the reason most people don't get into the correct foot angle prior to foot strike is not that they don't know that that is important when sprinting, but actually how they go about getting to the correct foot angle that ends up being the big problem in their sprinting form. Let me explain this a little bit more so then you can understand. Most people put an emphasis on lifting up their knees or stomping the ground or trying to put more force in the ground by just being very strong into the foot strike, or even maybe dorsiflexion the ankle or trying to really keep your ankle stiff. And if this is you, then you are not doing the right thing to make it so you can improve your sprinting form. The key to mastering your foot strike is everything that you do before you actually get to the time of when you're going to be striking the ground. Think of it like a sports team. I know many of you guys probably play sports, and when you watch some team win a championship or win a game, it's not that that particular game is where they won the championship or won a big game or made a big play, but it comes from all the preparation that they did going into it, the practices, the film study, the team bonding, all the time that they spent working on specific plays. That is what made it so then they could execute in that game. So a lot of what ends up happening when it comes to your sprinting and how well you're able to generate force in the ground comes from everything that you're doing before you're actually going to hit that foot strike. This is where so many people make their mistake, is they put too much of an emphasis on just stomping the ground or just having a very strong ankle, but are missing out on what are actually important when it comes to being able to run fast. And this is similar to what a lot of people make mistakes in when it comes to developing a team, is they just think, oh, I need to just show up on game day and do really well. That's not how it works. You have to practice great. You have to prepare great to then be able to execute and win that championship. So the goal here is to be able to make it so it's very, very easy for you to actually generate more force in the ground. A lot of times people are struggling because they're like, man, it's so hard to get to this position. Well, it's hard to get to this position if you're focusing on the foot angle position. But if you start to focus on all the things prior, that's what makes it so then this foot strike will become easy, which is the goal of this video. So let's take a look at what you could do to fix it and start running faster immediately. This is going to be Usain Bolt, and not everybody is going to be able to, or even should be able to, get to these specific angles, but we need some degree of context. I figure we'll use the fastest man ever to be able to at least establish some degree of understanding of what I'm talking about and what you need to be able to do. So we can see this is going to be as he's going through. This is the max height that he's getting with his foot angle prior to pulling back, right? So this is the key thing. We see 14 degrees here, and he goes from 14 degrees to the opposite side, 25 degrees. Notice how when he strikes the ground here, so that range, that 39, we can call it 40 degrees of range from here to here is what we're after. Okay, but you can't just do that. You have to be able to work on all the things that made it so then he can get there. So what did he do to make it so he was able to achieve that 40 degrees of range of motion? So this may end up being a lot, but stay with me. First thing we're looking at is the toe angle, or the heel position at toe off. So you want to be able to be in this very upright position within the foot as the foot's coming off the ground. Number two, notice the knee bend, and that his knee is pretty much right underneath his hip as that foot's coming off. His hip doesn't really fully extend until the foot is coming off of the ground. This is a really important part. Okay, number three is going to be the cycle of the leg. So he's not going back with his foot as the foot's coming off the ground. He's immediately driving the knee through and getting the foot to come forward and through. Number 4 is going to be toe position. I know this is a different video, but we're still watching the same person. Notice how his foot comes straight underneath. We'll see people that will end up going with their toe a little bit more off to the side as they come through, which is going to slow them down. Make sure that toe is coming underneath. That's number 4. Going back to the original video, as he comes through, so he's getting that toe to come straight up underneath. As he comes through, notice the height that he's able to get within the knee. Again, everyone's going to be different here, but the higher we can get the knee as we're bringing the leg through, the better we are going to be at being able to maintain getting that foot up off of the ground. Then number 6 is going to be the heel height. So he gets the knee up and maintains a heel height. What I see a lot of people do is as they come through here, their foot will come straight down rather than being able to maintain an upward position. Then number 7 is going to be the hamstring range of motion. So as he's coming through here, being able to open up within his hamstring to get this extension necessary. And with this, and this is kind of an underrated thing as well, we need to be able to also have range of motion in that opposite side spine. So you have to be able to, with your right foot all the way up, you have to be able to open up there while also being able to rotate here with the spine specifically to that right side. But really, you want to be able to have good range of motion on both sides when both of your feet are up. The more range of motion you have in more spine rotation angles, the better off you're going to be. The next one's going to be quad strength. So it's actually a lot of quad work to be able to maintain knee height and also push the foot in front of the knee. And the reason is because that angle is just very, very difficult. What the quads typically do is just pure knee extension. But when you start to lift the knee as well, that recruits one of the quads. So instead of it being 4 muscles working, and one of the biggest muscles ends up being utilized with keeping the leg up. So now you only have 3 muscles in the quad that are primarily working, which makes it much more challenging. And this is why it's important to do things like backwards running and things like that to develop the quads, to make it so then you can get knee extension out in front. So that's going to be number 8 is the knee extension or the quad strength. Number 9 is the ankle range of motion to be able to get here, right? Being able to have good dorsiflexion. This is going to require a lot of range of motion within the ankle. It doesn't need to be an excessive amount, but you can't have limited range of motion in the ankle and still be able to achieve this. This doesn't look like it's challenging, but it's definitely requiring some good amount of dorsiflexion within that ankle. And then the last one is just going to be the body control to be able to actively pull that foot down. So it's 40 degrees of range of motion that he's going through. Again, we looked at it before. It's 14 here, 14 degrees at the top, and then goes down into about 25 degrees here as he's striking. So he's going through about 39 degrees, 40 degrees of range of motion from here to here. And those are the big things that you need to be able to do in order to prepare for adequate foot strike. I know that might seem like a lot, 10 things, but a lot of you guys are probably doing 7 or 8 of those correct and just need to work on 2 or 3 to be able to see some significant improvement in your top speed. If you feel like you can only do 5 or 6, then you're probably not very fast at all, and you should really start to get working on some of these. But the people that are already pretty fast, they'll only have 2 or 3 that they really need to focus on to be able to get a lot better. And I do offer online coaching if you want to get more personalized information on what is it within your sprinting that you need to work on, what part of your leg cycle. The goal ends up being the same, is how well can we get that foot up, that toe up, and then be able to maintain that full range of motion and be able to really isolate that the best that we can. Now, my recommendation to you would be, after watching this, if there's 1, 2 things that maybe stand out that you could really focus on, really make it 1 if possible, focus on addressing that one particular area within the next 2 to 3 weeks, especially if you're a track runner and you're preparing for events and things like that. During practice, focus on getting that one particular thing better. It could be 80%, 90% during the drills, during your warm up, everything and every time that you can, focus on getting that better, and you're going to immediately see improvements in your speed. I can guarantee it. As always, if you like this information, click that thumbs up down below. This should be super, super valuable for a lot of you guys. when implemented correctly. Check out those things down below. I'll also list all 10 of them in the description. If you want to find out more about our coaching, you can also check that out in the description as well. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.